So in today's video, we're gonna do finally a full review on the exhaust system on my Mark 5 Toyota Supra. I never really did a full exhaust review of the new setup on this car. In my opinion, this is the absolute best full system you can get for the Mark 5. Now, obviously, this is an opinionated based video, it's purely subjective. However, there are two things I think that a lot of people can agree upon as to what makes an exhaust system the best. No drone, no check engine light. So my car is equipped with the MST high flow catted downpipe. There's no check engine light. So yeah, I've swapped out the stock cat for the MST one. It's a 6-inch diameter high flow catalytic converter. It's actually about the same cell as the stock one, just a 6-inch diameter instead of 4 inches. And from what they said, it flows about the same as a catless downpipe. So I have been extremely happy with this high flow catted downpipe. Sounds better than stock. And once tuned, of course, it's gonna give me pretty much all the same power benefits as going catless, but not have to worry about a check engine light or any sort of illegal modification. And then the rest of my exhaust is the AWE resonated touring. Now this is their quietest setup. You're gonna see resonators in the center pipes, and then the touring are the mufflers towards the tailpipes. You can also opt for a non-resonated touring or a track version. Track version will have the resonators with no mufflers. Now we have all these on the website down below. I'll have the link to this downpipe along with AWE's exhaust system. I've been very happy with them. A lot of you guys have ordered these, and it just gives it a super amazing tone. And as far as the fitment, you can get black tips. I went with chrome just to kind of spice it up a little bit, but really nice looking design. Of course, it fits the bumper super well on the Supra. And now I think I've done enough talking. Let's go ahead and start it up real quick, give you a few rev clips, and then we're gonna take it for a test drive and hear it even more. Yeah, that sounded so good. Now, one thing interesting with the AWE system, there is no active valve. The stock Supra comes with an active valve in the muffler. This one doesn't have it, and yet sport mode still makes a difference. Now, sport mode on the Supra, basically it's the engine tuning. It'll give you the pops and bangs and just kind of liven up the exhaust tone. And when I'm on the highway, I will actually notice a slight difference when I hit sport mode because it tunes the engine just slightly more aggressive to where there's a subtle difference. But with that said, this car sounds so unique and so good to where the pops are what you get in sport mode anyway, stock. And it really doesn't make that much of a difference from the inside with the stock system. It's actually fake engine sounds playing through the speaker. So when you're driving in this car bone stock and you hit sport mode, what you're hearing is actually the speakers. So it's kind of a gimmick in the stock form anyway. The car doesn't really need to have an active exhaust. Of course you can get that, but I think the AWE one is just a perfect tone. up just sounding noisy. And I'm not a fan of noisy cars, especially, you know, when you look at drone or just even the pitch. If it's just noisy and loud, honestly, it sounds like garbage. These are expensive cars, and they need an exhaust that sounds proper, sounds mature, but of course sounds really cool. And I like how this setup is kind of one of the quietest setups you could go with for a full exhaust system. However, cruising now in normal mode at 55 miles an hour, it's nothing annoying. You hear the exhaust, like as I go up a hill around 2,000 RPM, I can hear it back there, but it's not like it's droning in my head, just giving me that annoying drone that annoying exhausts do. So that is a really big plus with this system. There's no annoying drone. When you're on the highway going like 70 to 80, you don't hear it at all. So we're at 2,000 RPM right now. This is about 2,200 RPM. Actually gets a lot quieter. So once you are on the highway, especially in 6th gear, it's quieter than it is right now. So if we're cruising at almost 3,000 RPM, you just hear kind of the hum back there with nothing crazy. And you hear just the slightest extra deep tone once you go to sport mode. And then of course, whenever you let your foot off the gas, you hear a little bit of gurgles. And it does pop quite a bit, all with the stock tuning. It's worth mentioning, if you're hearing a lot of turbo noises, I have an Arma Speed carbon fiber air intake, which definitely wakes up the turbo as well. But my biggest thing with an exhaust system, and like I said, what makes it the best, the fact that if we start back with the downpipe, when you mess with the stock downpipe in a lot of cars, there's a good chance you're going to get a check engine light. Even if you do a high flow cat, a lot of times you're still going to get a check engine light. And in today's world, tuning has changed quite a lot, especially with the Mark 5 Supras. A lot of them are locked, and it's over $3,000 to do a tune on the car. And not everybody really craves even doing a tune. They just want to get some extra sound, and they'll get to tuning later on, and they don't want to deal with a pesky check engine light in the meantime. And they may not want to deal with emissions issues where you can't get your car inspected. And on top of that, they don't want the smoke and the smell from the back. So having the high flow cat has kind of been the best of both worlds. It is significantly louder than stock. However, if you have the stock exhaust paired to this cat downpipe, it is still incredibly quiet when you're just cruising. It doesn't change anything, honestly, under 2,000 RPM. When you're ripping on the car, that's when you hear the extra sound of it. So if you're just gonna do the high flow cat, you get that extra sound when you're ripping on the car. But slow speed, you know, back to the 6th gear, no sport mode, it's basically bone stock. And with that, you know, as far as emissions go, like I said, some tuning now isn't even gonna do anything to where you can delete your check engine light. There still is some, but it's just not the way it used to be. So a lot of people seem to be going towards high flow cat downpipes these days because you're still gonna get the benefits of a catless system. However, your car is still legal and you don't have any of the negative effects. And then with AW's exhaust, again, this is the quietest setup from them. I like it because if I'm just cruising, it sounds like a normal car. Cold start's definitely louder. I mean, you hear the car when you start it up, but once the car cools down a little bit and just does its normal idle, normal driving is pretty relaxing and normal. But, of course, my favorite thing. Yeah, that sounds so good. It's a tone I can't explain. I've heard a lot of Supra exhausts and nothing sounds like this. It's a very, very unique tone. It's a deep, oh my gosh. This is so addicting. But it's a deep, mature tone, and it sounds like a proper exhaust system for this car. Again, if you go just the noisy ones, they just sound cheap, and this isn't a cheap car. Let's try to get a clip in this little tunnel. I don't really know if I can even get down here, but it might be fun just to back into this tunnel and get a quick rev and then leave. But this car just sounds so, so good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug my ears, so this is probably gonna be really loud. Yeah, no slouch of sound. That is insane. When you hit about redline, it wakes up so much. This car just comes alive. It is a complete riot. Oh goodness. Yeah, I really think if you're looking for like the perfect setup, the high flow cat downpipe with this exhaust just gives it the perfect tone. Oh man, it really wakes up the car to make it just so much more fun to drive, because it's a quick car, it's powerful, it's fun to row through the gears of course, and yet with the stock exhaust it's nothing too crazy. If you just do the high flow cat downpipe though, it at least does wake up the stock exhaust to where it does sound pretty good, but then the AW takes it to a whole new level and it just wakes up the car and is really an addicting sound. Alright, so after a fun little test drive in the Supra, here's what it sounds like just idling, which is really, really nice. So it's got a nice, just aggressive growl to it as it just sits there and idles. And once again, when those pops turn on in sport mode, the thing just wakes up so much. Honestly, I don't really have any complaints, and I don't even miss an active valve in it. Obviously, there are other exhausts out there. We do have FI on our website as well, which does have an active exhaust, which is a sweet option for sure. But the car doesn't really need it, just because sport mode is really the exhaust sound difference. When you press the button in the car, the stock tuning is what changes 90% of the sound, which is pretty sweet. But there's my full review on the AWE Touring Resonated paired to the MST catted downpipe. I've been very happy with them, and a lot of you have commented about check engine lights and drone, and this literally is the system to get, this combination, if you don't want either of those. I know a lot of you aren't into tuning or just want to wait on tuning for a little while until it's easier to do that. This is the safest and honestly the best way to go, to where you don't have any of the issues, but you get all the fun. And once tuning does happen, for my car at least, I know I'm going to get all the same power that a catless downpipe is going to go with. It won't be an illegal car whatsoever, and I'm going to get the best of everything. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I also run an AWE on the S3, and our future RS3, we're probably going to go with AWE again. Somehow with European engines, they just tune their exhaust to give it such a unique tone. I've been very, very happy with it compared to that high flow cat. Anyways, that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, click the links down below to check out some awesome exhaust and intake upgrades for your Mark V Supra. See you guys in the next video.